What's up, everybody? So today we are working on a Trx450. So here's our Trx450, and we got this thing all souped up, all good to go. Cleaned the whole carb and everything like that. Got her running great, and then our starter clutch went out. And this is actually will be the second time of us replacing this. So we're gonna see what's going on here with this. First things first, let's get a new fresh starter clutch in there and see what's going on. Alright, so one of the things you're going to realize when you start to look this stuff up to see which starter clutch you're going to buy is, if you're buying anything aftermarket, everything in the reviews, like every review I swear I looked at, had something horrible to say. And it's not always like that when you look at parts. Usually it might be one bad comment, but it seemed really 50-50, which made it really hard for us to buy the starter clutch. But we ended up just pulling the trigger on one, the one that was the most popular, and hopefully it works for us. So we're going to also be able to show you that today, and hopefully it works good. And I will either show you the link of what not to buy, or hopefully for what you do want to buy. So this is all it came in. It came in the bag or whatever. There's our gasket, and actually it doesn't look like a horrible gasket. So hopefully that's good. And then this in here is our starter clutch. And that's what it looks like. Alright, so the other thing we gotta do is either we gotta decide whether we're gonna tip the quad on its side and not drain the trans oil, or we're gonna drain the trans oil. Alright, so as you can see, we decided to flip the quad on its side, and all we had to do was get a strap, and we just cut a hole in our Jeep right here and hooked our strap up to a nice little support beam there. So it was definitely way easier than just draining the oil, obviously. So here we are. First things first, so we unhooked these hoses here, and we will debate, but we'll probably have to unhook this here, and that'll give us function to probably our spring. So then you can push your lever all the way down. You probably won't have to take it off. And we'll see. But let's get at it. Let's see what we have to take off. Alright guys, so hopefully you can see me okay, because the freaking power went out. But that's not going to stop us today, because I know I need to push out this quality video for you guys to watch. Hopefully that's some quality light for you guys. Alright, so this is what's going on. We took all our bolts out here, undid our hoses like I said. Try to prop your hose up just like that, so not too much of your fluid runs out. Nothing's really going to come out of this guy right here. You just push that guy to the side. Okay, I guess I lied. Make sure you prop that one up so it also doesn't drain out. Perfect. There are different bolt sizes, so make sure either mark which ones that are different sizes, or just, I like to do it like a good starter spot. So this will be my first bolt, and I work my way all around, which you guys can see right here. There's my first one. I even put a little marker on it, and we wrap all the way around. Now you're wondering what those two guys are. That's your old brake lever right there. Don't go fighting yourself trying to push it down to work yourself in these spots right here, because you're gonna have to push that down anyways, probably to get this case off. So we unhooked our spring, and we went for these here just because an Allen was closest to us. We could have probably taken this off instead, or we could have undid that. You have several options, so whatever you feel that's easiest for you, get at it. But for right now, I'm voting on this was pretty easy, darn easy for us. So we're gonna lift this out and see what we got cracking on this thing. And hopefully we don't leak any oil. Hopefully we are at a good angle. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so new outlook here. Drain your oil. Even though that this is a nice angle that we can work on, so I'm not too mad about it, but we are draining, so we are making a mess. Kudos to that. The other part is too, there's a lot of shavings going on from this starter clutch, so the oil needs changed anyways. So got that going for us. So we're gonna get this clutch off here, which you could see a previous mess up right here, but we're not gonna look at that. Don't worry about that guy. We'll handle that. But gotta take this puppy off right here to be able to get to our starter clutch, which is this guy right here. So let's get at it. Alright, so my boy brought up a really good question, and he wanted to know, how does the starter clutch work? So I'm going to show you. Right here is the gear that is being driven. Right there's your starter. Oop, oop, oop. It's right there. Right there's your starter. Then you got multiple gears come through here. Then here's your starter clutch. So there, see how it spins like that? And you know, I'm even gonna question a little bit what's going on here, because what I'm wondering, okay, so that's like that. We're gonna hit the starter button. Alright, so obviously you can spin it this way. You see it spinning. That's the, you know, the way it doesn't go. So no compression that way. But this is the way it's supposed to go, like that. You know what? I don't know how all this works 100%. Alright guys, so we pulled our clutch out. I do apologize for the lighting, but I do appreciate you guys powering through, because I'm going to give you guys some good content. Our clutch was fine. We pulled it all out as one there. There's this little guy right here that's going to be sitting in the center. Be careful, because there are little needle bearings in that. And when I pulled it off this washer up top, you can see I'm spinning it, actually came off with the clutches instead. So the bearing, or the needles, were just chilling there. So be careful with that guy. So we're gonna pull that out, and like I said, just right here, it went in the center just like that. So I'm gonna pull that guy out, and we are gonna get a, you know, I don't recommend, there's better ways, but we're gonna use our impact. Get that nut off, pull the basket out, and then we're gonna be able to get to the goods. Alright. Alright, so with the impact, we got our nut off, there's a little washer there, and there's this little key holder jobber there. And with the impact, the reason why we have to do that is because this thing just free spins. So obviously you could, I'm sure they make nice tools to take this stuff off, or you could, you know, probably wedge something in there, but why take the chance of hurting that stuff? So got it off. Let's move on to our next thing, which will be wondering how we're gonna get this off. Sometimes you got to use a little trick. We'll see if we got to do that or not. Alright, so just to help you out with a couple of things here, the socket you are going to need for taking off that bigger nut off your clutch basket, I'm sure it's metric, but a 1" 16 socket fit on there really nice. So use that. You have to look that up, what the millimeter one is. Let's see if this works. Alright, this works way better for lighting. So this one right here, that's on your clutch, your starter clutch, sorry, it's on your starter clutch. Pull that puppy off. That was a 17 mil. We already took that off. Impact it. We will. Ooh, girl, you were spinning, weren't you? So, was that brass? Copper? Something like that. But, anyways, we will put that on with the right torque spec, because when you're tightening this stuff, you don't want to get too crazy, because that's when you start kind of, you know, messing with stuff. So we will put that stuff on the right way. Alright, so we got our power back, but we got a bunch of other problems now. So I was about ready to show you guys exactly how this worked, and then I'm like, how the heck does this thing work? Because what's happening here doesn't make sense. So I'm going to show you. You have two, this spins right here, right? So like I was showing you guys, here's your starter gear. You got these little reduction gears that runs through, right? Well, you got this one here, but as you can see, it's spinning separately. As in, it doesn't spin when this gear spins. And we actually took it out. So, and, yeah, it was the metal shaving, I'm pretty sure. Oh, don't take that gear with me. Just need this one right here. So another thing I'm complaining about now is that this other gear we got, starter clutch, it fits like shit. So I actually got it on there one time. It was a very snug fit. probably work with a rubber mallet persuasion, but that's not great. And honestly, if my starter clutch isn't bad, that's a great reason for me to send that back and get more money back in my pocket. Because this little gear right here, I'm about to show you, is 85 bucks. Like, holy moly. And I remember this gear, and I'm wondering, is this the gear? Is this what I replaced last time? Was it not the starter clutch? You know, it's been a while. But, so, here I'm going to show you guys. Put you in my armpit. But, this is... It shouldn't spin like this, because what's going to happen is this is your gear. It's getting driven by the starter, right? But you're supposed to spin, you know, the rest of the gears to start the quad. But it's not gaining any traction, so something broke in here.
24 hours later.
So this is what we had to modify. It is a reducer gear, pretty much. Here's your starter. Here's your gears here, and this thing slides on that shaft like that. Now, I'm pretty sure I showed you already, but there was a clip on the back, and this is like a pressed-on type of gear. So what happened was, on these Trx450s, they were having issues with people pumping the throttle on these, and then what would happen is if the motor didn't start, it would kind of backlash a little bit. So it kind of helped absorb some of that. They had this guy here, and because this never really helped solve their issue, is they actually put, I heard some of them had warning stickers on the throttle here. Oh my gosh, it is. So this was their in 07, this was their next step on trying to solve this issue. Keep the throttle closed during starting. That's crazy. Didn't even know that was there. So I don't even know if like your other like Yamaha LTRs have this or not. You know, comment if you do know something about that. But a lot of people, what they do is they just weld. There I go again. Anyways, so they weld that. So that's what we did. Alright, so we got it almost put together. Just going to let you know a couple things real quick. So we got this all back, and I had a kind of hard time looking at the torque specs, figuring out what this was and what it was actually called. Looked like a lot of things ranged around 18 foot-pounds of torque. I'd still look it up for yourself, try to find your best thing. What we did is we tightened it with the wrench by hand till we couldn't anymore, because this will start spinning. And then we just kind of tapped it with the air gun and kind of did our best judgment on it. We didn't overdo it. As long as you don't get crazy with that stuff, you should be all right. You know, that's not necessarily professional advice, but it's kind of how we always got along doing stuff. So, same thing with this nut here. This one's actually rated, I found, for 108 foot-pounds of torque, which is pretty spicy. So, again, I believe they make a certain type of tool, or your options are get, you know, yourself your torque wrench. You could wedge something with it before you put the discs in. Wedge something in here to keep it from spinning, and make sure you don't want to get sloppy, because the last thing you want to do is chip something on your basket here. That's why I didn't go this route. And then you could tighten this to your 108 foot-pounds of torque and get your exact spec. But for us, again, we just used the impact. We tightened it by hand, then we used the impact, used our best judgment. Didn't go all ham sandwich on her or anything like that, but we did tighten her up. So 108 foot-pounds, that's a lot. That's a lot. So should be able to handle it, the impact. Just as long as you don't get crazy and, you know, get the big one out, you'll be all right. This goes on just like that, and then this guy goes on. And it doesn't matter as long as it sits flush. Alright, so just a little tip here, which honestly, I think doesn't. I guess that's how it's supposed to look. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, you got this guy right here. Make sure when you're putting your case on that this is also lined up to fit in there. So it looks like this is quite a bit bigger, so it looks like it's meant to Doesn't have to be exact, but keep it close. So that goes on, and that actually drives probably your water pump, I would assume. So you need that. So make sure you line that up, and you're good to go. Alright, so I tried not making this video long, but it's long, whatever. So, first of all, thank you for, if you stuck along this long, watching us, work on this thing. I appreciate it. I know lights went out there for a little bit. That sucked, but we kept on going through, because it's exactly what you would probably do. So, anyways, tips for working on this thing. First of all, recognizing whether it's your starter clutch or that gear that went bad. Your starter clutch will not slip. It'll either grab and turn the motor usually, or it will seem like it's just not catching. Usually it doesn't do anything too much in between. Now granted, I haven't had a lot of them go out on me, but I'm just going by what has happened from these two different scenarios. So that's what would happen with your starter clutch. If it's your gear, what I recognized was it did a solid slip. So when it started to slip, you could hear it like slow, like kind of turning the motor over, but at the same time it was slipping. Usually when it's the starter clutch, it either grabs, turns the motor, then like lets free, but it never does anything too much in between, it seems like. So that's kind of a way to kind of help you before you start pulling this apart, to kind of figure out what kind of parts you're going to need. But thankfully you got, like, if you got time to just take it apart, see what's wrong, order the parts. That's always the best route to go. Save yourself money, hassle of ordering the parts before, like us, and now we have to send these things back. Mainly because they're wrong. If they were right, I probably would have still used them. I would have just put some fresh stuff in there, because why not, But that's not the case this time. The other stuff is, this worked out really good. Taking these two bolts off here left us to where we could leave this on here, and we just unhooked our spring from the bottom. So that just hung there, stayed all nice and, good for us to hook back up. We were able to sneak the case out pretty easily. So it just, you have to work it slightly, but that's it. As you also notice, we did not take our clutch cover off. Leave that on. There's no reason for you to take that off. Same thing with your water pump cover here. The only bolt that you will take off will be this top one right here with this bracket. And, of course, you take off those two lines also. Guess technically you don't have to, but you'd be causing yourself a lot more issues trying to bend that back with the hoses still connected. Obviously, you're going to go the route, take the hoses off. After that, once you're inside, you know the deal. Wham, bam, get her done, So, wasn't bad at all. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to add fluid. And this is your little weep hole right here. You undo that bolt while you're pouring oil in. And then once it starts weeping out, that's how you know your trans is full. Not quite sure. Pretty sure it's under a quart. We got this thing dialed in now. A couple pumps. It runs good. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope this helped you out. I know I learned as I went here too. So, that's sometimes how it works. So, appreciate it, guys. See you later.